Hey, what's up guys? Harry here, and today I've got a video for you all about what to do when an Uber passenger poops in your car. And you might be thinking, wow, that sounds pretty ridiculous, and it's a little bit hard for me to say with a straight face. And also to be clear, this has never happened to me, but we have actually gotten a couple emails about it lately. And when I first read this situation, when I first heard about this, I sort of kind of chuckled, obviously, but also at the same time, I was thinking to myself, man, I have no idea what I would do in that situation. But I started thinking about it. I sent a few emails back and forth with a couple drivers who this happened to, and it's actually sort of a serious situation. And, not that it happens very frequently, but there are situations like this type of damage that goes above and beyond the cleaning fee, where drivers are sort of at risk. There are a few steps, though, that you can take to make sure that you get all the damage covered. So, basically what happened in this situation, driver emailed me. He told me that he got a passenger who was wearing an adult diaper. About halfway through the ride, he started smelling something a little funky. When the passenger got out of the car, he turned around, looked at the seat, big old poop stain, right? So someone didn't actually pop a deuce right in his car, but the diaper basically leaked, right? And the worst part about this, that it was actually an Uber pool ride, which is not cool for anyone. So you can imagine the other passenger was probably not too happy either. So the driver noticed this as soon as the passenger got out, obviously because it smelled terrible and there was a huge poop stain on the back seat. So he took a bunch of pictures, right? Obviously when anything like this happens, you want to take dozens of pictures, 10, 20, 30 pictures, send them into Uber. And Uber was great. They sent him $150 cleaning fee, which is the max that he could receive. But as you can imagine, it's pretty tough to get poop out of a seat, and sometimes very expensive, since I guess it's a biohazard. So he took it to a couple cleaning places. They weren't able to help him, and this driver ended up getting a new quote from Toyota, and it was for $965 for a new seat, right? Because they actually had to take the seat out. But the real question is, who's going to pay for it, right? And that's what he emailed me about, because those were the problems this driver was happening, right? It's kind of funny, oh, this passenger poops in your car, but what about after? I mean, vomit is vomit. You clean it up, get it done. It usually comes out. You can sort of puke-proof your vehicle sometimes, and maybe, it sounds like some people need to poop-proof their vehicle. But, Uber's insurance only has $1,000 deductible. So unless the damage is over $1,000, you're out of luck there, right? And I mean, we're talking about poop here, but what if the passenger opens the car into traffic and a bicycle hits it, right? Damages the door. It's $895 of damage, right? Uber's not going to cover that because it doesn't meet the deductible. But who's responsible after the fact, right? If you go to Uber after the fact and say, hey, I need this passenger's contact info, they screwed up my car, just like what happened with this pooping passenger, Uber won't share that with you because of privacy details. I've been emailed many different times about situations like this. I've never heard of Uber sharing a passenger's contact details after the fact due to privacy laws. So in this type of situation, it actually behooves you to get the passenger's contact info yourself, right? So if anything like this ever happens, right, we're talking about pooping, obviously, but like I said, what happens if a passenger opens your door into oncoming traffic, hits a fire hydrant, chips your paint, anything like that where it's sort of somewhat significant damage, but maybe not thousands of dollars worth of damage or an accident level damage? You want to make sure that you get that passenger's contact info so that you can actually work with them to pay for it, right? So if it happens after the fact, so let's say something happens, you get the passenger's contact info right then and there, but let's say after the fact you watch this video and you realize that you should have gotten their contact info, but you didn't. Like I said, Uber won't be much help, but if it is after the fact, there are a couple things you can do. You can always go back to the pickup and or drop-off addresses, since you can see that in your trip history. Try to find the passenger, try to talk to the passenger. Obviously, if it's a house or something like that, just knock on the door. That's one way to sort of get in contact with the passenger, but that's really what you're going to need to do. I mean, I think if you explain the situation to the passenger, most of the time they'll be reasonable, say, hey, you leaked in my car and Uber's not going to cover it. I know they charge you a cleaning fee, but here's my bill, here's the damage. Can we work something out? I think that most people in that situation are going to be pretty reasonable. But if not, I mean, I'm not an attorney or anything, but you might have to go that route. The small claims court would probably be the best situation there. And then at that point, it may be worth it to go after the full damages, whatever fees you might have, the lost wages and things like that, because, it is kind of a joking matter, but at the same time, right, this is your livelihood. If someone damages your vehicle and you're out of work and they're at fault, it's in your best interest to go after them for everything, right? Lost wages, damages, etc. And it would be great if Uber provided a little more support in these types of sort of one-off situations. But in my experience dealing with drivers and talking to them, I can tell you that Uber isn't a lot of help, even if you get into a big accident. So, I mean, for a lot of these smaller things where you're sort of on your own, it really pays to be proactive. And, if you can avoid poopers or avoid these accidents or avoid this type of damage, that's obviously the best or ideal situations, but sometimes things come up. So hopefully you guys don't experience this, but if you do, feel free to let me know if you had any, maybe you haven't had someone poop in your car, but maybe you've had a similar situation. Let me know how you handled it. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We release new videos every single week, so make sure that you tune in, and look forward to hearing from you.